Yep, welcome back to SeaBed. Last time we rearranged some furniture and Narasaki told us some crazy tinfoil theories about how the dream world works. So I've definitely thought a bit about what Narasaki said, because that definitely seemed very relevant. So specifically the thing I focused the most on last time was the whole sun setting in the east and rising in the west if you're in a dream thing, because that just stood out to me. I mentioned that I had mentioned that before at some point in the playthrough, and a kind commenter pointed out when that was. I didn't have to go scour through my entire playthrough to find when that was. That was when Narasaki was bringing Kozue back to her village. When she walked to the tunnel, at the end, right before the scene ended, she mentioned offhandedly that the southernmost mountains were more illuminated. Like the southern side of the mountain was illuminated. So that's what made me brought it up. So I did some research, and basically the way it works is I mentioned this last time, but basically if you're in the northern hemisphere, then when the sun is at its apex, like when it's in the middle of the sky, it'll be more south relatively, and the further north you go, the more south it will be. And if you're in the southern hemisphere, it's the opposite. The sun will be in the north when it's like noon, and then it'll be more north the more south you go. And in both hemispheres, the south obviously rises in the east and sets in the west. So in that scene, now that I look back on it, it actually makes sense that the southern side of the mountain would be more illuminated, because Japan is in the northern hemisphere, so the sun would be, I mean, I guess it is like more like the end of the day, so it doesn't really look like noon, but even still, I think the sun would be slightly angled more towards the south, so I guess that makes sense. So I'm not sure if that's supposed to indicate to me that that was not a dream, because I didn't really focus on this too much last time, but she also said that top and bottom were inverted. Now, I don't know I don't know exactly what that means, because I mean, everyone is seeing everything upside down there, because we would have definitely noticed that. But if I just take it as north and south are inverted, then that would mean that scene was not a dream, because if it was, then the northern side of the mountain would be illuminated instead of the south side. Or most likely, I'm just fucking grasping at straws, and the writer didn't think about all this that much. Because this is a very like offhand detail, but I thought it was worth bringing up. Something else that Narasaki said about dreams that I didn't focus too much on last time. She said that the passage of time is vague in dreams, which is interesting, because I have mentioned several times now that there have been several scenes where the passage of time felt very, very strange. Like, just one I remember was the first time Narasaki talked with Sachiko in the cafe. I mentioned it when I was reading, and I mentioned it later. Like, the passage of time in that scene felt so strange. Like, it seems like hours passed, and the characters just said like 2 lines to each other, and we didn't get any indication that time had actually passed. It seems like time was flowing way too fast. And there's other scenes that felt like that. So I don't know if that's just like me reading the scene wrong, or if that's supposed to be a clue that scene was in the dream. Unclear. And the last thing she said about dreams was that things we forget or can't remember disappear or aren't present in the dream, which obviously is very reminiscent of the tips section with in Narasaki's clinic, where things are randomly disappearing and she's trying to find out why. So I wonder if the whole like I wonder if the whole first section of tips, I wonder if the whole Narasaki's clinic, is that supposed to be just like Narasaki's mind palace or something? Like, none of this is real, this is just all in Narasaki's head as she's trying to figure out what's happening to Sachiko. That would explain why her clinic room would be in the mansion. Maybe. But if things in the dream world disappear when you forget them, then it wouldn't make sense that she would have a list to like check to verify against, to check whether or not things are disappearing. Because if she has a list to see if things are disappearing, then she hasn't forgotten about it. So if she hasn't forgotten about it, then it shouldn't disappear. Or maybe it's not Narasaki's dream. Maybe it's someone else's dream. I don't know. We're getting very, very silly with it. Okay, anyway, that was it. Let's continue. What do I want to go with today? We haven't gone with this one, but it's kind of lame because Sachiko's like in the middle, so you can't see her. Like you just see like a rock on the side and the sky on the left. But I guess we'll go with it. Knock knock. I heard a knock on the door. It's me. I'm coming in. I sat up in bed just as someone entered the room. The person closed the door and turned around to face me. Is something wrong? I looked at her face, narrowing my eyes. Narasaki? Are you still half asleep? That's strange. I thought I locked the door. Narasaki made a puzzled expression and tried the knob again. Well, it certainly wasn't locked unless I'm strong enough to break the door without noticing it, or unless I'm a figment of your imagination. Are you already going to sleep? If that's the case, I'll go find something else to do. Thought she locked the door when Narasaki entered. It's okay. I thought it was too early to sleep anyway. You've been sleeping all day. I'd rather not wake up in the middle of the night later. Okay then. Narasaki sat down in the chair at the end of the room, right next to the window. The same one she used when we played chess. I feel like I've already had a conversation like this with someone before. Not with me, I hope. Narasaki shrugged her shoulders. For some reason, even an exaggerated motion like that looked natural when she did it. Ah, that's right. Koza came to my room during the afternoon. She brought this book with her. I imagine it was a bird encyclopedia. Oh, here it is. Narasaki picked up the book from the table. She really did look for it. I'll have to thank her later. I nodded. Just as I figured, it was something Narasaki asked of her. What were you doing today? I went to watch the lake early in the morning, then I looked something up in the library until noon, and then I guess I played house for a while? You played house? I was almost sure I had misheard. Narasaki made a meaningful smile. Well, what were you doing then? I was working. Working? I tried climbing out of bed, but Narasaki said there was no need. As I was hesitating, Narasaki handed me the cardigan from the chair. I took it from her and placed it over my shoulders. So, what was that you said about work? I told Narasaki about how I helped Nane redesign her rooms. A miniature garden, huh? I love stuff like that too. Nice for you. Really? A while back, I played a game where you were the mayor and had to build a new town. It was pretty cool. You're playing SimCity for the... You have to be playing on Super Nintendo, right? If this takes place when I think it does? Even then, that seems kind of later than I would expect this to take place. Wouldn't SimCity SNES release? Or Super Famicom, I guess, because this is Japan. February 1989. I guess it came out on like MS-DOS and like other like computers before it came out on the Super Famicom. Okay. Never mind, it's fine. I know that one. Takako liked these kinds of games too. He built houses, roads, museums, and so on. It took me forever until I figured out how the electricity plant worked. But figuring things out is the part you love, no? I've never been into those city building games. I don't know, it's just not my genre, I guess. Oh yeah, that's right. There's an odd pause in her answer. I felt like her easygoing attitude wavered for a barely perceptible moment. However, I couldn't quite ask her about it in a way that made sense, so I had no choice but to change the subject. Have you spoken to Lily since then? Yep, she told me a spooky ghost story. I had a chat with her while you were sleeping at the end of the corridor. Okay, I see. Why are you asking? Nane told me to talk to her if I ever had something on my mind. Narasaki seemed to fall deep in thought. I feel like everyone's been worrying about me ever since I came here. I wonder if I come off as strange. You definitely do. You don't need to worry about being a little strange. Everyone's strange in their own way. It's what makes us unique. We're not manufactured in the factory, you know? And why is it always me? Everyone's more or less strange, but some are better at hiding it than others. They do it unconsciously, though. Well, I can imagine reading the mood and not signing out, but isn't it a problem when you can't act normal even when you try? I'm not trying to make everyone worry about me. Nagasaki lightly shook her head. I'd say you're actually better at that than most. But right now you're tired and it's not working as well as usual. I let out a sigh. Is there anything in particular bothering you? I remembered what I was thinking about in bed before Nagasaki came. I was mulling over what he said about the structure of my hallucinations. You mean how you forgot all about the funeral and the date of the trip? Yes. The way I created an alternate office in my head so I could trick myself into thinking Takako was still around. I'm not the kind of person who usually dwells on her past, so I thought I wouldn't have made up such a ridiculous story. But after our conversation, I began wondering if I couldn't have done it without my knowledge. I'm not sure how to explain it, but I did something creative today for the first time in a long while, and it was really fun. Nani seemed to be having fun too, so I asked her why. She said it was fun to imagine how someone would sit in the same chair we relocated into the lobby, and I found myself agreeing. I paused there. I hadn't really collected my thoughts just yet. You mean like imagining Takako sitting in that chair? Yes. I do it during work too, but even in the past I kept imagining similar things as I read books. So the fact I came up with an alternate office in my head wasn't all that strange either. You said there was a reason for it. I did. It might just be that I wanted to meet Takako again, even if it was a true farce. So you're saying you made up Takako just like that lobby's design? That was the idea. I guess that's possible. I pulled out one hand from under the sheets and showed Narasaki my palm and knuckles. When you're creating something, you keep imagining people seeing and using it. You have to judge it from various perspectives. You imagine what it's going to be and how it's going to be used, and then you start thinking from the viewpoint of those people watching or using it. Well, Takako and I loved imagining such things, and that's why we chose this kind of field for work. I see. You two did have pretty active imaginations. I wouldn't be surprised if yours worked to serve one of your unconscious cravings. That's what I've been thinking after designing the rooms with Nanae. An unconscious craving, huh? However, you should know that it stops being unconscious the moment you acknowledge it. Now that you're aware of the Takako situation, there's no reason why you should keep seeing her. Yes, what's your opinion about that? Narasaki slumped into the chair and crossed her legs. Her index fingers and thumbs were on her chin, indicating that she was deep in thought. I think you're on the right track. Don't you find it a bit too simple, though? Depends on how you feel about it. Remember that it's all inside you. It makes sense at the very least. Narasaki pulled out her usual notebook from her pocket, placed it on the table, and flipped it open. Is there anything in particular bothering you? She asked, taking out her pen. I suppose the explanation makes sense, but then what about the hallucination I saw the night you came? As I said before, you don't get cured overnight. Maybe you just saw, what's your name? Mia running down the hallway, and you just thought it was Takako, because they look the same. Have you seen anything else since then? No, that was the only one since coming here. Okay, but even if we say that my hallucinations have been more or less cured, what about the ringing in my ears? I haven't had that since coming here either. Could it have been a result of the stress caused by the hallucinations? I don't know, but that sounds like a solid guess. Narasaki placed the pen on the table with an audible bump. She quickly picked it up again, surprised by the sound she herself had caused. Anything else? Those were the only things bothering me. Other than that, and I've said this before, I feel unusually exhausted and sleep a lot. They say your brain arranges the information in your head as you sleep. Maybe it's related to the fact you're on your way to getting better. Or maybe we have fucking brain cancer, who knows. Or perhaps you simply don't get enough sleep at night. For example, you keep thinking about these things in bed instead of sleeping. And in any case, I don't think you should pay too much mind. You're on vacation. You can sleep as much as you want. I could sleep as much as I wanted. I suppose so, and Narasaki made a gentle smile as I said that. Suddenly, I felt an odd sense of discomfort, reminiscent of a tiny drop of water falling on my head. I have a feeling I'll be able to sleep well today. Thanks for hearing me out. It's no problem. I mean, that's what I came here for. I thought back on that sense of discomfort from just a moment ago. I realized why I felt that, because Narasaki's smile seemed somewhat different from the way she usually smiled back at the clinic. What do you mean by that? You're going to sleep? It was still early, and talking made my drowsiness go away. I felt like talking a bit more. No, I'll stay awake for a while longer. Okay. Narasaki smiled. Her smile felt different than from at the clinic. Then we shifted the subject to the interpretation of dreams. Do you have these kinds of dreams a lot? Narasaki asked. Yeah, I tend to dream in places I've never been to before. I also have episodes of my actual past sometimes. I'd love to hear about your other dreams, provided you can still remember them. Well, you know how dreams are. I barely remember anything. Oh, that's fine. Just tell me what you can remember. I told Narasaki about what I dreamed about recently. She kept taking notes in her notebook. She didn't write down everything, though. At times, she simply listened. That's about it. I told her everything I could remember. Narasaki was still writing something in her notebook. Our conversation came to an end around the time the clock struck 10. I thanked Narasaki again. However, she once again said it was no problem at all, then left the room. I turned off the lights and closed my eyes. For the first time in a long while, I fell asleep right away. I had a dream of my past again. Blue and green. Oh, this again. Is Narasaki gonna be here? The sand in the sandbox was powder-like, as it was delivered here straight from the beach. I could spot pink and white pieces of shells mixed into it. Takako overturned her water-filled bucket. As the sand absorbed water and changed color, she scooped up a handful and put it on top of her mountain. It reached all the way up to her belly button. This should be good enough. Let's make a tunnel next. She started digging from that side. Takako started digging without waiting for my reply. The sand was still wet and showed no signs of crumbling away, even when I dug a hole in it. I continued digging until my hand passed through it and touched something soft. Haha. Takako tried to catch my hand, so I pulled it away. We have to connect it properly so it can pass through. What can pass through? The water! We made both our holes wider and strengthened their walls with more wet sand. We're gonna make a water channel pass through this. I'll go bring the water hose and we can make a place for a waterfall here. They're going to be angry again if we use the hose without permission. Relax, I'll make sure they don't find out. We continue working in silence. Oh, that's quite a mountain there. And I see you've even made a tunnel. Oh, Miss Nurse. The kindergarten nurse came to check on us. The nurse again. She wore an apron with pink tulips embroidered on it. An apron with pink tulips. What are you making? Right now, a waterway. Oh, but you can't fill the sandbox with water. Relax, I'll make sure they don't find out. Takako continued working in silence. Said the nurse. Oh, that's it? Okay. The chilly air in the room woke me up earlier than usual. I went out for a walk to kill some time before breakfast and ran into Lily as she was sweeping the leaves off the pad in front of the entrance. Are we Sachiko or Narasaki? Okay, Narasaki. Morning. Good morning. The day's pretty chilly, isn't it? Indeed. The clouds should clear up by noon though, so it'll get more warmer then. There's a big bamboo basket filled with leaves by the entrance. Cleaning them must be a pain during the season. It certainly is, answered Lily, smiling. Aren't you officially closed right now though? Oh, this is just a part of my daily routine. Besides, good exercise. I see. I saw Lily brush the leaves into the dustpan, so I brought the bucket over to her. She looked up and thanked me. As the leaves were safely delivered to the basket, Lily gave me a hard look. Have you been sleeping well? She pointed at the area below her eyes. Perhaps I've been enjoying myself a little too much. It's good to be active, but don't overdo it. A gust of wind swept across the yard. It turned into a kind of minor whirlwind, sweeping dust into the air. The lily preserved the leaves she had collected down with her broom. Some of them nonetheless flew up into the sky. Oh my, she said, watching them fly off. I spent the time until breakfast, talking with Lily and helping her with her chores. Kozue again? I think this is like the Kozue team or something. I heard a high-pitched voice next to me. Can you hear me? Yes. The person that voice belonged to had her pale eyes fixed on me. I looked around, having just been pulled out from the darkness of deep thought. Yeah. I'm sorry, what were we talking about? Are you growing senile? A beam of light fell directly on the table, illuminating the tiny piece of dust on it. I was surrounded by countless books, almost as many as there were stars in the sky. A cute, pale-haired girl was looking at me. Pale hair. I got lost in thought. I do that too, but never in front of people. You're absolutely right, I'm sorry about that. I was asking what kind of children's games you were talking about. From the tone of her voice, I could tell she wasn't really upset. Like playing in the sandbox or with dolls? Just how many years did you spend playing with those things? We were talking about children my age. I mean, it all started when you asked me if I played like other kids my age. Hearing that, I finally recalled some of our conversation. Koei stared at me with suspicious eyes. Well, you can ask your classmates about that. Koei leaned against a chair. This might sound surprising, but I don't actually know anyone well enough to start asking questions like that in class. And I'm not planning on making new friends either. Why? Too much effort. Why do you feel that way? I'm not interested in what they're talking about. What are they talking about? They keep talking about furniture and interior design. I don't care. Boys usually talk about video games, while girls discuss TV and idols. Sometimes they go to karaoke and events or whatever. And you never felt like joining them? If they invited me, I'd refuse. Me being there would only sour the mood. You don't have to reject them. It could turn out to be pretty fun once you actually try it. I don't watch TV, so I wouldn't be able to follow their conversations anyway. Koza was talking much faster than usual. While she seemed concerned by the subject to an extent, she obviously had reservations about discussing it in a public place like this. While I tried to come up with a way to change the subject, Koza let out a brief sigh. How did we even start talking about this anyway? We were discussing various ways of relaxation, and it developed into a conversation about hobbies and such. Yeah, we were so out of it I almost thought you'd forgotten. Look, I do feel bad about it, okay? Well, fine, as long as you're aware of it. Relaxation, she mumbled under her breath. Reading books and looking things up would probably fall into that category for me. Everyone's different, so what I'm doing right now is like a game to me. What's playing anyway? Playing is playing. There should be a dictionary on here if you wanted the exact definition. I mean, we're in a library. Koza raised her face and looked at all the shelves surrounding her. I don't know where the dictionaries are. Wanna go look? I placed my hand on their armrest. I'll do that. Koza stood up and promptly disappeared into the library's sea of shelves. Well then, I stood up and headed in the opposite direction. There's a library map by the counter. Koza looked like she wanted to compete at who would find the dictionary first. As I walked between the shelves of large books and textbooks, looking for the Japanese dictionary, I spotted Koza on the second floor. She waved at me with a book in hand. I returned to the desk. Koza descended the stairs with the dictionary safely in her grasp. Cool game. I mean, that was a game we just played. There we go, you learned what it is. You were fast. I recalled spotting it back when I was looking for your bird encyclopedia. Okay, so you were cheating. I see. Koza placed the book, which looked somewhat too large to be comfortably held in her hands, on the table and flipped it open. She found a page with the entry on play. When intelligent animals, people included, engage in an activity for the sake of recreation and self-satisfaction, rather than a serious or practical purpose. Does it include activities that are performed out of necessity rather than personal desires, such as sleeping or hunting for survival? Koza read the entry aloud. For the sake of recreation and self-satisfaction, rather than a serious or practical purpose, Koza mumbled a bit under her nose. Does your research give you satisfaction? I'd say that's an accurate enough description, Koza answered, slightly tilting her head. In that case, what you're doing here is playing. Koza frowned in the display of discontent. It's a bit more vague than I thought. Really? If satisfaction is the only thing that defines playing, then everything in the world can be a game. I was hoping to see some actual criteria that could definitively separate playing from not playing. I mean, dictionary definitions aren't the end-all be-all. I think if you're having like a philosophical discussion on what is playing and what is not playing, if you brought up the dictionary definition, you'd get made fun of. Like, you can make your own definitions. I've said this before, but it's different for everyone. Any activity can be considered playing as long as it gives you that kind of mental benefit. Koza's small, graceful hands closed the book. Were you satisfied? Well, I guess so. Do you already know what we'd find in the book? Yeah, it was close to what I expected. After all, it's close to my field. Now I feel like I wasted my time. Hey, no need to get upset. Koza looked up a few more words in the dictionary, jotted something down in her notes, then went to the second floor to return the book. I remembered something just now, she said as she came back. When I was little, I used to play with a penguin slide a lot. It was this big and ran on batteries. It consisted of an ice mounted, a slide, and a tunnel running through it. Mechanized penguins would climb up the mountain and slide down. Anyway, you could basically repeat the whole thing over and over again. She showed the size of the penguins and how they moved with her hands. I can still remember it. These penguins were all of different colors and would always slide down one after the other in the same order. I really liked the black one and watched it most of the time. I never grew tired of it, just looking at the thing filled me with satisfaction. The only thing you can do with the toy is look at it? Yes. I wonder why I liked it that much. She narrowed her eyes, falling in thought for a moment. Well, for starters, it looked cute, which caught your attention, and you probably enjoyed imagining how the mechanism worked or gave the penguins various roles and personalities in your mind. You really liked it, didn't you? I added. Yes. Do you still have it? I don't know, it ran out of batteries one day, and I think I forgot all about it. I see. I wonder where it is now. Now I feel all nostalgic after remembering it. I hope nobody threw it away or something. Koza spent some time searching for her penguin slide's whereabouts in her mind, but returned to her research for a while. We exchanged a few words over that time, but didn't talk about anything particularly significant. Because the talk you just had was significant? As the library grew dark, Kozue cleared up her tools to the left. I figured I could accompany her until the tunnel. Not the tunnel again. The embroidery of water lilies on Kozue's bag swayed to the rhythm of her steps, as she traversed a stone path that wasn't designed with her short legs in mind. That's a cute bag. I made it in my industrial arts class. She glanced at the bag herself. You made it yourself? You're very talented. I wanted to add more decorations, but I didn't have the time. You like sewing? Kozue took another 3 steps forward in silence. Not really. I guess I like it more than the rest of my classes, though. I see. I suddenly remembered what Sachiko told me about one of her classes. Takako apparently caught a sparrow in a trap box she designed. It was only slightly bigger than your palm and had a latch that could lock and unlock it. They didn't have specific instructions, but everyone was provided with plans of bookshelves and drawers, which turned out to be the basis for evaluation. Needless to say, Takako's grades weren't the greatest that semester. Oh, sorry, my phone. According to Sachiko, this was quite unusual for her, as she did have a talent for engineering. Takako got the sparrow on the day she brought the trap box back home. Apparently, sparrows would often fly into her house at the time. Takako figured they must have been attracted to the dried up rice that would sometimes accumulate near their rice cooker. When she noticed a bird in her house again, she swiftly closed all the windows and doors, and she set all over the room with an insect net until she eventually caught it and put it in the box. Jesus. Sachiko got angry at Takako for stuffing the animal into a cramped box with no windows, telling her to consider how she herself would feel if she were in the bird's position. However, the sparrow didn't spend long in the trap. Tako's mother came back home when Takako was away playing, and as soon as she heard some peculiar sounds coming from inside the box, she found the bird and let it go. Takako complained to her mother when she returned, but got scolded instead. The sparrow did not return to her house ever again. According to Takako, a whole bunch of sparrows used to frequent her kitchen in the past, but not a single one had come since then. She wondered if they actually had some sort of means to convey information between each other. We left the premises of the mansion before I even realized it. I turned around to look at it from the road leading to the tunnel. By the way, have you spoken to Lily yet? I figured Kozue wouldn't be interested in the story, so I brought up something else, their plans to meet an architect or whatnot. Not yet. You don't feel comfortable talking to her? It's not like that. Lily enjoys talking. I'm sure she'd be happy if you visited her. I glanced at Kozue, but she showed no reaction, so I continued. Alright, she told me a scary story the other day. Did you know that a person went missing at this mansion? No. I wonder if she tricked me. I've never seen more than 2 people working there to begin with. Right, Kozue gave me a suspicious look as I said that. Much like last time, I said my farewells to her as soon as we exited the tunnel. She nodded and made her way down the slope. You read because I was Sachiko? Because that was Norasaki, I mean. I heard something that sounded like the laugh of a child as I was reading a book in my room. I looked out the window to see 2 children playing with the snow. Is it Mia and her brother? They disappeared behind a row of trees, leaving behind only a set of footprints. How long have you been here, Sachiko? I feel like you've been here for like so long. I do feel like going back to the book. The snow sparkled vividly in the warm sun. I felt like finding someone and having a conversation anyone would do. As I was putting on my sweater, I spotted an encyclopedia on the table. For a moment, I was confused by the unfamiliar book, but I soon remembered it to be the one Kozue brought me. I recalled my conversation with Nasaki from yesterday. I wonder if she forgot it. I considered returning it to the library, but instead decided to personally hand it to Narasaki. With that in mind, I placed the book in my handbag. As I was walking through the mansion, I realized something was odd. It was a distortion of sorts. Although the windows on the first and second floors all opened to the same area, they gave me different views. From the first floor, I saw the portal in the mountains, while the second floor gave me a view of the inner yard, which was supposed to be on the other side. What? The number of rooms and windows didn't seem to add up either, while the ceiling seemed to rise higher and sink lower depending on my location. Guess you're dreaming? Could this have been a result of the renovation, or was the place always designed like this? I wonder what could have led to this. Even after exploring all 3 floors, I ran into no one. In the end, I went outside, letting the chilly air bite at my exposed cheeks. I couldn't see a soul around. The children had probably moved on to somewhere else. The snow had piled up quite high around the area of the fence. I could still see the footsteps on it. I followed them only to realize they were leading to the inner yard. Oh, there you are. I finally found you. I heard a voice as I was about to open the door leading to the east wing. Okay, was that separate, or are we still in the dream right now? Nana's wooden sandals clinked against the stone road. You weren't in your room, so I was looking for you. I guess you came outside. Yes, my eyes got tired after reading for too long, so I went out for a walk. I see. Would you like to accompany me to the bath right now? It's the open air bath I've mentioned before. Right now? It's still noon. Okay, I think we're not in the dream anymore. Thinking about in the middle of the day feels also so luxurious now. I like it personally. It's almost like you're talking about a drink. Wait, someone else said that. Was that you? Someone else said that earlier in the story. Like, someone else said that taking a bath in the middle of the day was luxurious. I forgot who that was, though. Was that Takako? I feel like Takako said that to Kozue. I might be misremembering who said that, but someone definitely said that before. Well, that's not so far off the mark. It sounds interesting. I'll go get dressed then. Alright, I'll be waiting at the cafeteria. I felt an odd sense of discomfort in the back of my mind as I opened the door. What's wrong? Asked Nanae. I think I wanted to ask you about something. About what? I was pretty sure I wanted to confirm something with her, but I couldn't quite remember it. I forgot. Don't hesitate to ask whenever you remember it, and said Nanae as I gave up and entered the mansion. We walked along the mountain stream nearby to the waterfall we'd seen earlier. We'll have to walk for a bit, but it shouldn't take more than 20 minutes. I don't mind, figured I could do with some exercise anyway. The mountain path was wide enough for us to walk next to each other. I heard the cry of a bulbul from somewhere. A bulbul? Did you learn that from the bird encyclopedia? I looked up to see the mountain with stretches of yellow and red above the treetops. I quickened my pace so I wouldn't fall behind. The tiny streams serenely tricked down the gentle slope. I spotted familiar vegetables by it. Isn't that dropwort? Yes, but some of those are poisonous. You guys actually just know everything. Poisonous? How do you tell them apart? The poisonous ones have a subterranean stem like mushrooms. The traces are visible to the naked eye, provided you look hard enough. Guess it's already the season of the 7 herbs, huh? Isn't it a bit early? You can already find them in the mountains. At least a shepherd's purse and a henbit. What the fuck are you talking about? How about we pick some on our way back? I can make tempura with them later. That sounds nice. I spotted what looked like a big cave at the end of the road. Are we passing through this? Yeah. Scared of the dark? Not really. The surrounding shrubbery prevented me from making it out from a distance, but as we drew closer to the entrance, I realized it was no cave at all, but a brick tunnel. It looked pretty old, the cracks in its walls grown over by greenery. I'm not scared of the dark, but inside I couldn't see further than 5 meters at most. Anything further in looked like it was painted over by black ink. There seemed to be cables leading inside. I spotted something that looked like the remains of a lamp, the string of which probably continued into the tunnel. Still, pretty evident that none of these things had been working in order for years. How long is it? I'd say about 60 meters or so. And these wooden sandals scraped against the sand covering ground. I followed her, sensing the light behind me grow more and more distant. When we reached the area I couldn't see from the entrance, the darkness grew even thicker. If that wasn't enough, the sound within the tunnel suddenly felt amplified too. This used to be an old railway. There were tracks under the sand, so be careful not to trip. At this point, I couldn't even see the walls. I no longer had any idea how wide this place was. Better hold my hand, said Nanae, before completely disappearing from sight. I clasped the hand she extended towards me. Looking behind, I saw a thin patch of white light in the distance where the entrance was, but it got displaced to the right the further we walked, eventually disappearing completely. So we're curving. I looked ahead to realize I couldn't even see my own hand. Are you okay? Tell me if I'm going too fast. Okay. I occasionally heard her voice, her footsteps, and the sound of dripping water. They all reverberated across the tunnel in a way that made me completely lose my sense of distance. I can't tell where we're going at all. We won't hit the wall, will we? I'm following the railroad tracks, so we won't hit anything. Besides, I've been through this tunnel a million times. I remember the correct path. I stepped on something and staggered a little. I'm impressed you can walk through dressed like that. Haha. I'm used to it. I've been playing in these parts since I was little. That said, I can't say I've been to a darker place. What kind of games could you play in a place like this? Well, you know, hide and seek. Here? Yeah. You've got to be real good to find someone in here. Weren't you scared? Not really. I was more scared of being found. When you're a kid, you get real serious about these things, so eventually having it find you becomes really terrifying. Or is that just me? It might just be you. You crouch down somewhere between the center and the wall, and before long, you hear footsteps approaching. The louder they get, the closer you know it is, searching for you along the walls with a stick or something. And if you're lucky, those footsteps pass right by you as you wait there, holding your breath. Have you actually been found here before? Yeah, and quite a number of times too. There was a time when it let out a loud scream right as they passed by me, and it scared me so much I started screaming myself. Then this other time I waited until it passed, and as I relaxed and started moving, another it that stayed behind found me. Ooh. They synced their footsteps, so I couldn't tell them apart as they approached. Are they fucking ninjas? What do you mean they sync their footsteps? I started crying if any of those happened to me. Anyway, that's why you're desperate not to be found out. You can't breathe when someone's passing by you. Even your heartbeat and the flow of your blood feels too loud. The trick is to think you're a stone or another railroad track or a stain on the wall. You've got to become one with your surroundings. You've got to believe you don't exist at all. Okay, so you are ninjas. Your game is seriously scary. Yeah, one time I actually fell asleep. Or maybe I really ended up believing I didn't exist, but it was like I suddenly regained consciousness after losing track of time. And for a while, I couldn't tell who I was. I couldn't see my limbs or anything in the dark. I don't think I even realized I had eyes. I eventually ended up staggering out of the tunnel, my mind as empty as ever. Only once I saw myself in the evening sun, along with all the familiar trees, streams, and a library in the distance, that I remember who I was. As you can imagine, I hurried home right away. I mean, the tunnel is only 60 meters. It's not... it's not that long. I could have sworn I saw some wet mist in the darkness. Upon close inspection, I spotted a crouching Nana surrounded by it. We passed by her. And here's the exit. What? Excuse me? Are you seeing the memory that Nana was talking about? I saw light in the distance. It grew bigger and bigger with each of her steps. The raindrops on the ceiling sparkled in the light like stars. I could make out a hand holding mine in the darkness. Its long, warm fingers felt somewhat nostalgic. Oh, hello. As I let go of her hand, Takako turned to me. What's wrong? The countless stars of the Milky Way extended across the sky. The Southern Cross shone almost blindingly in the distance. I don't know. I felt odd for a moment. Takako let out a laugh. I could hear the soughing of waves somewhere behind me. Oh, you're back on the island. I guess we've had enough fun for the day. We still have a whole day left here, so maybe it's about time we return to our cottage. I followed Tako's gaze to see a long, shallow bridge leading to a cottage above the cobalt blue sea, sparkling in the moonlight. Hey, let's lie down on the terrace benches and watch the stars. Then let's sleep together. I could make out black hair and black eyes reflected in Tako's pupils. There was something that appeared there for one frame. I definitely saw something there. Hang on, I need to check that. Good thing I'm recording. Okay, wait. Is that cheating if I check? I don't think it's cheating. Let me just check. Okay, I have to find like the specific frame though. Dude, I missed it. Let me play it. Hang on. Let me play my recording. I'm like way slower. Okay, at this speed. Did I imagine it? I'm not seeing it in the recording, but I swear I saw something. What FPS am I recording at? Did I miss the frame? I'm recording at 60 FPS. Maybe this game is rendering at a higher FPS than that, I don't know. But I'm not seeing the frame in the recording. So that means you guys probably didn't see it either. Maybe I'm just going schizo and I imagined it. But I could have sworn I saw something appear for like one frame before it faded to black. Then let's sleep together. Sorry, I'm spending... Okay, I'm not saying... It's on my recording. Is it, like... Huh. Okay, I'll need to go through that again later to see if I was going schizo, or if I really did see something. I might just be going crazy. You're planning to sleep in a dream? Someone took my arm from behind and jerked me back. I heard the sound of a foot kicking up dirt. Are you okay, Sachiko? As my hand was pulled, I thought I saw red hair for a moment. Red hair? Nasaki's voice lingered in my ears. I'm okay. My arm hurt. Now I supported my weight in the blinding darkness. What happened? It came so out of nowhere, I almost fell with you. I'm sorry. The exit's just a few steps away. I feel like it's impossible for a tunnel that is only 60 meters long to be that dark. Like, I feel like it would need to be longer for there to be no light in the middle. Even if it's curving, so the light isn't like going in a straight line, it's still like bouncing off the walls. I feel like it wouldn't be completely dark in the middle with only 60 meters. I don't know. The hot springs had a simple dressing room. There were 2 sinks with a hairdryer next to each. Didn't Nanae like explicitly say that they didn't have hot springs at her hotel? I feel like she like explicitly said that. As I found a hanger and hung my coat on it, Nanae handed me a towel. You can use this to wash yourself. Thanks, I took it off her hands. You can soak it in water if you want, but Auntie might get angry if you do. I know how this works, it's okay. Nanae folded her clothes and put them in the basket. She then finally took off her pendant, placing it on top of them. Noticing my gaze, she said it was just a protective charm. It was a simple silver cylinder attached to a chain. Nanae entered the bathroom ahead of me. I also folded my clothes and put them in the basket, and followed Nanae through the door that turned out to be barely holding onto its hinges. I feel like she talked about her pendant before at some point, but I forgot. It might have been in Italy the first time we met her. They're true bathroom total, all surrounded by rocks and located at different levels of elevation, reminding me of terraced paddy fields. I stepped into the one in the middle as it was closest to the entrance. Ooh. Phew. My limbs having grown cold without me even realizing, gradually began to warm up in the hot water. Okay, we still have not seen what, we still have not seen any CGs or any sprite of Sachiko since she's arrived at the hotel, right? I'm pretty sure the last time we saw Sachiko, in this story, was, when she was playing with the rubber ducky and she hallucinated Takako. We've seen Sachiko in Takako's POV when or like in her memories and when she's reading the notebook. But in like this side of the story, we haven't seen her since then, I'm pretty sure. I didn't think there'd be any more left. Nanae scooped up a small yellow leaf between her thumb and index finger. I could see countless tiny stars sparkle upon the transparent surface of the water. The branches of the surrounding trees extended above the hot springs. It sure warms you up. If you'd prefer something hotter, you can try the bath 1 step higher. It's closer to the source. I'm fine right here. The hot springs at the top seem to be a simple one as well. Its water is translucent and odorless. Okay then, in that case, come over here. She pointed out the spot in the shadow of one of the branches, opposite of where I sat. If you look to the left, you can see the library, right there by the mountain. See? I followed her finger to see a canopy of countless trees swing in the wind. You definitely said that you didn't have hot springs. Like, you said, like, I'm pretty sure the words you said were like, the reason we don't get any customers during the winter is because we don't have hot springs. But you do have hot springs? I could make out the library dome amidst that sea of greenery. Found it? Or maybe we're just dreaming right now. You can see even the whole town from this vantage point. The pale mountain in the distance almost melted into the boundless blue of the sky. I could make out the contours of a small port town at the foot of the slope. That's quite a view. Almost no one knows about this spot. I can pretty much have it all for myself. What do you mean no one knows about this spot? The hot spring here also of the rare carbonated kind. Apparently, they loosen your blood vessels and help with high blood pressure, heart disease, and other circulatory problems. Look, you can even see the bubbles near your skin. Okay, that seems not true, but Nanae struck her arm, causing the little bubbles around it to burst. You really do know everything about this area. Well, of course I do. I've lived here my whole life. You're like the witch of the forest. Hehehe. And I might be a witch, but I'm no old crone. I'm as old as I look. So you're a wicked witch then? No, I'm a good witch, like Samantha. Are you sure you're not older than you look? Ha ha ha. There weren't any kids my age around here, so my mom and auntie took me out for picnics a lot. We went gathering wild vegetables too. Like hisui. Yep, you'd be just as knowledgeable about plants and birds if you lived here. I wonder about that. Your surroundings naturally seep into you before you know it. At times, I honestly feel like we're all just the products of our environment. Like mirrors that reflect only parts of the world around them. And I pause, seemingly searching for the right words. The only things that differ between said mirrors are their size, shape, and the direction they're facing. What about colors, or the condition of the glass, like stains and cracks? Okay, it's just a metaphor, Sachiko, don't take it that literally. Yeah, that too. And so you're only a warped reflection of your surroundings and the people around you. Maybe that's true. I wonder what the shape of your mirror is. I'm sure it's shaped like this mountain, or the forest, or my mansion. As I've said, I pretty much grew up living and breathing this place. I feel like I can see the forest and the mansion much better when I'm with you. Thanks. What do you think your mirror is shaped like? Mine? I guess it's hard to figure out something like that about yourself. Nanae added as I fell silent. A small red star danced through the air and landed on Nanae's head. Noticing my gaze, she placed a hand on her head and picked up a leaf. I didn't notice at all. I let out a hearty laugh. Like you've said, I didn't live a particularly introspective life, but if there's one thing I've always had my eyes on, it's my childhood friend. Oh, that sounds romantic. I wonder, I think I've already told you that person is no longer here. I'm not sure how to put it, but I'm still jealous in a sense. I wish I could have met your friend. Another leaf landed on Nanae's head. You know, I just realized something. What? Why didn't you bring a flashlight to that tunnel? I thought it'd be more fun that way. Huh. Should have known. Was that hosting a dream? I'm still hung up on the fact that she did explicitly say that it didn't have hot springs. Phew, that sure was nice. Let's hurry on before we catch a cold. Nanae stepped out of the dressing room while I was gazing at a big maple tree. Wrong way. Nanae stopped me just as I started in the direction where I come from. Let's go back to a different route. She began walking in the opposite direction. I followed her. This alternate route down the mountain had a small safety fence, but I wasn't sure how helpful that would be once you actually tripped. I looked over the fence and, through some branches, I saw a glimpse of the mansion's roof from the distance. Nanae took out a green candy from her sleeve and popped it into her mouth. Here. She offered me a red candy. I'm fine. Okay then. We do know that Sachiko hates candy. Nanae put the red candy into her mouth. I heard her bite through it. Like candies? Yeah, I guess. Who doesn't? We had some with you when we went to the waterfall too. I get hungry easily. You're hungry? This is my emergency fuel. Think of it as coals in the steam engine. Are your teeth okay? I've never been to a dentist in my life. Based. I guess my parents didn't love me very much. Do you mean that story about the oral bacteria transmitted by the mother causing bad teeth? I never believed that. I don't know what you're talking about. This is some Japanese shit. I don't know about that, but it's sure my mother didn't pay much attention to me when I was little. I'm not sure how to explain it, but she was kind of unable to pay attention to multiple things at the same time. When she focused on her work, she'd forget to sleep, eat, and pretty much everything else. The same rule applied to the people she loved. When I was little, she had someone more important than me. I was kind of the same, but I mean, personally, I'm glad I was brought up that way, because I would much prefer have like parents that let me do what I want and like don't really like focus too much on me versus parents that are really overbearing and like try to control every aspect of my life. Even if it's like out of kindness, I don't think I could live in that kind of environment. You don't love your mother? Never really gave that much thought. I don't know, it just felt normal to me. But I did feel a bit jealous when they looked happy together. I think that's still better than forcing yourself on others at least. Yeah, I think I understood that back then too. I heard her chew through another candy. Wait a second. Then I leaned over the fence to the right and plucked out some plant. Let's go. What was that? Here. She showed me a long stem with many small leaves on it. Oh, a shepherd's purse. Yep, found it right away. I like how Sachiko keeps saying like how impressive it is that Nanae can recognize all these trees and all these plants and all these animals instantly. But you knew what a shepherd's purse was? Like, you're the same as her. Luck seems to be with us today. She put it in the basket she carried. She took it from the dressing room of the bathhouse. And with that, we continued down the road. Can you find any other vegetables here? Dropworts and hembits grow here in droves. If you see something that looks edible, tell me. I'll give them a look so we don't poison ourselves. Okay. We came out onto a wide, even road. It grew brighter as the trees thinned out. By the time the scale roof of the mansion disappeared from view, our basket had been filled to the brim not only with dropworts and embits, but shiitake and oyster mushrooms as well. We certainly managed to pick a lot. I didn't have high hopes, but I guess you can still find them if you look hard enough. Did you just admit that it really was too early in the season for them? Come on, all's well that ends well, you know? We came by a stone irrigation channel, a sign that we were getting closer to home. I spotted a familiar vegetable near my feet, right under the leaves. Isn't that butterbur? Of course it is, who doesn't know that? Oh, it totally is, but it's still pretty small. Can't we eat it? Can't we eat it? It's not a good idea to eat them when they're this small. Gotta be patient until they grow bigger over the winter. I'll go wash the dirt off her plunder. Give me a moment. She descended the stone steps and, leaning over the edge, immersed the entire basket in the water. The dirt was swept away in this translucent liquid. Okay, can't you use, like, the sink in the kitchen to do this instead of the dirty river water? The dirt was swept away in the translucent liquid, traveling towards the mansion. It stings. And they continued to wash the vegetables with her bare hands. I spotted an odd branch covered in bundles of white hair. What is this? It's a pussy willow. Nana lifted her face while remaining seated. Huff. She broke the willow tree branch in half and ascended the stairs. Here you go. I took one of the resulting branches from her. You like pussy willow trees? I love pussy. I think I do. I touched the hairy bundle, finding it just as soft as its appearance would suggest. I like them too. My mother used to keep a branch in her room at all times. I didn't get why she refused to pick more colorful looking flowers, but now I myself leaned towards this kind of simple aesthetic. Ugh, my right hand's gotten all red. Let's hurry home, okay? If only there was an easier way. Then I started down the road. We were so close to the mansion and I could no longer see the entirety of its building. The high walls of the east wing filled the entirety of my vision. I turned around and saw a mountain covered in lush greenery. Above it drifted a huge cloud looking almost like a vast layer of snow. We might be getting snow tonight. Now it turned to me before I knew it. You think it's going to pile up? Yeah, it's definitely that kind of cloud over there. Let's go back and warm ourselves. Okay. There was snow in her dream, right? It had already snowed. Okay, let's stop here.
I mean, I think the biggest thing from this episode is just...
For me, it's still just the deal with the onsen. Like, she did specifically say they didn't have onsens, and then they do. So I don't know what that's supposed to tell me, but it's interesting, I guess. Other than that, I don't think there was anything too relevant. Oh yeah, and also the fact that everyone in the story, like, it's just more clues to the fact that everyone in the story is just a Wikipedia machine that just knows instantly the type of every animal and every tree and every flower instantly. Maybe I'm just stupid. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm just stupid and this is just common knowledge. Like, oh yeah, of course, a pussy willow. Who doesn't know that? Of course, a bulbul bird. Of course. I don't know. Anyway, we're stopping here for now. Yeah, see you next time.